What's up, fam? I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Like you guys know, my name is Mormy Walcott, aka Mo, and I am here to tell you the difference between an iBuyer and traditional home selling. I can only really speak on what we do here at Shop ATL Homes, as all real estate people do their own business differently. So I'm just gonna run down the 5 main things people are concerned about. All right. Number 1, speed. I noticed that a lot of people are looking more towards these iBuyer programs just because they're like, well, I want to sell my home as fast as possible, and that seems like the way to go, correct? Depends. So at this point, when it comes to an iBuyer, fast is just, subjective. At this point, when you call one of these programs, they usually come out the next day with a rough estimate on the market value of your home, and they actually have an offer generated for it. Now, when it comes to the traditional home selling, you can still have the option of a fast offer, right? Usually we're able to come out there the first day when you call us, hey, I'm thinking about selling my home, when can you get out here? We go out there, do a whole market analysis, taking consideration of any updates, any recently solds in the area when we get out there, and then we kind of adjust it from there. After that, it relatively takes about 3 to 4 days to actually start generating offers. Now, sometimes it can be the first day, the second day it's listed. Most of the time we get an offer within 24 hours, but a nice juicy offer is usually going to come in at around the Saturday or the Sunday. But we'll get to that in a second. So the second thing people are the most concerned about when it comes to selling, of course, iBuyer versus traditional, is the cash. So technically speaking, when you're calling one of these companies, they're giving you a cash offer, right? They're going to bring a contract and says, this is the amount we're going to do, and there's no negotiation on that. They just generate this offer and this is said and done. And you can sign it for that amount and go closing with them and get that at closing, or, like I said, you can do the other way. Well, when it comes to this cash offer, that's the thing. When you get to closing and you get your check, it doesn't matter if the financing was cash or if the financing came from a loan, like a conventional FHA, what have you. The closing is still the same. And at the end of the day, regardless if you got a cash offer, it's still going to be a check when you get to closing. And regardless if you have a loan, it's still going to be another check when you get to closing. It's not a difference, and you don't actually receive cash. At either point, you both receive a check that's verified, good. You can take it to wherever. Don't take it to Walmart. And you can pretty much get your cash right then and there. But both of them are the same exact thing. So this whole cash offer technically doesn't exist. Number 3, convenience. So most people are attracted to the idea of maybe going towards an iBuyer because it's more convenient. Well, again, that's subjective. So it's just as convenient to go to a traditional home buying process versus an iBuyer process. I think where people think convenient comes into play is that they're coming out there the next day, right, with the offer. Versus what we do is that we're coming out the same day, analyzing your home for the top value that we know that it's going to sell for, and then implementing our marketing plan, which takes about a day or 2 to prep the home, and then 2 to actually take the pictures and list the home, versus you just being stuck with this offer that's a percentage of what your home is actually worth. So if you're looking at convenience, is really relatively the same. If you got an instant offer the next day, right, you're still looking at paperwork, you're still looking at prepping the home, you're still looking at doing the same things you still have to do with the home as you would traditionally selling it when you get under contract. So that's really the only difference, is that it's a little bit longer in days. However, the effect and the end result is still the same. Number 4, affiliates versus referrals. So I say affiliates because that's more for the iBuyer side. We have certain affiliates. You don't have to use them just because they're through our company. And that's a thing that we actually have you sign. You don't have to use these, and we're not tricking you into using them, and they're not in our contracts for you to be charged to use them. However, when it comes to the iBuyers, they actually have certain affiliates affiliates. And when it comes to these affiliates, they are actually put into the contract and they're non-negotiable items in the contract. So not only do you have to use these people when it comes to certain things like, the title company and however, they want to operate. Most of them have their own closing attorneys. They keep the earnest money with the lawyer. It's kind of... So when it comes to the iBuyer side, it's really interesting just because the affiliates that you have to use are just non-negotiable, and they can actually rack up quite a bit of cost at the end of what's said and done. And at the time of closing, you have lots of things that come into play that you didn't want and then you didn't have to have, but because you signed up with their affiliates, you have to be charged for them. So that is one thing to consider. When it comes to the traditional way of doing things on our end, what we have are referrals. So we usually have the same things. It's just that, again, we have a disclosure saying that you don't have to use any of our referrals or affiliates. And on top of that, we're not going to push them into the contract where you have to use them as well. You're free to use them. And if you don't want to use them at all, that's okay too. It's whatever you want to do. So on to number 5. Number 5, of course, the cost. So when it comes to the iBuyer, I think people are automatically assuming, well, it's a fast cash offer, so they're gonna give me a lot of money for my home, right? No. Like I said, when it comes to those offers that are automatic generated before they even come to your home, most of the time it's not going to be anywhere near as the amount that you would have got traditionally listing it on the FMLS with a great agent and then getting the most for your money. And most of the time it's a lot of money. You're talking about tens and maybe not hundreds of thousands of dollars that you could potentially get versus doing the other. So my biggest thing, and I guess the biggest takeaway from all of this, is that when it comes to these iBuyer programs, their costs are non-negotiable. They have to charge you the flat rate that they want to charge you, which in the industry is 6%, on top of their cost, on top of their technology fees, and on top of their affiliate costs as well. So at the end of the day, your bottom line at closing is a lot less than what it actually would be on the other side, versus you not having to use any of those affiliates that you don't have to, as in you get the most on the market value plus whatever is gonna be offered for your home. And then 3, you get the most money for your buck this way. So like I said, it's really up to you, and we actually offer iBuyer programs as well. So if you still want to go that route, you can still use us. It's not a problem. It's just that we're not going to recommend this unless you just really don't want people walking through your house. Like if you have elderly people that live with you and you don't want them exposed to COVID, absolutely, that might be the best bet for you. And especially if you sold a home before. If you haven't sold a home before, I really suggest for you to get an amazing agent and to make sure that they walk you through the whole process. No one wants to sell their home. And the great thing about us is that we help you find your next home as well before you even put your home on the market, which is amazing for you, and then a safeguard as well. And still, if something happens with that, as a lot of things can happen between closing, you still have a safe place, as we have multiple rentals that you're able to use. So that is the difference between the iBuyer and the traditional home selling process. If you guys have any questions at all, give me a DM. If you know anyone looking for a home or looking to sell, definitely share this video and your girl would appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing week and be safe.